Hi again, everyone, and we are about to continue with our next speakers, and let's connect to them. Noya, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, I can hear you.
Great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Super excited to take part in the summit.
Yes, same here. First question, where are you located?
So I'm located in Herzliya, which is a city close to Tel Aviv in Israel, still working from home.
Awesome. I've heard many good things about the city. People say it's a kind of high-tech hub for many technological companies, right?
Yeah, it's a cool city. It has a beach, it has parks, it has high-tech companies, restaurants. So similar to Tel Aviv, just quieter.
An awesome place to visit after the lockdown, I guess.
Yeah, you're invited.
Thank you. I will remember this. So let's get to your presentation and good luck with it. You can start now.
Sure. So thank you, everyone, for joining this 15 minutes talk about demystifying retention marketing measurement. Since it's a very big topic and time is short, I'm going to skip like a long intro about myself and trust you can find it on LinkedIn should you wish to. So when speaking to marketers about paid user acquisition, the majority of them can tell you how to calculate cost per install, cost per MAU, and what impact paid user acquisition actually have on their business. However, that's not really the case when speaking to them about measuring retention marketing activities, which is a younger niche in the industry. In fact, when looking on Google for measuring user acquisition, you get 3 times more results than if you look for measuring retention marketing, which is why I'm super excited to have this opportunity today. And in the next 15 or actually 14 minutes, I'll speak about the why, what, how, and when of measuring retention marketing. Since I'm a very practical person, this presentation is also very practical, and I hope you can take some tips and apply to your business. So let's start. Retention marketing is also referred to as CRM, loyalty program, user lifecycle management, user journey orchestration, and so on, is about communicating with your existing user base, usually using emails, push notifications, and other forms of in-app messages, with a variety of goals around retention and engagement, such as converting new users to perform their first meaningful action within your app, or reactivating dormant users, driving feature adoption rate, and so on. Now, there's a misconception that retention marketing is free, as you don't pay Google or any other network for ad impressions, clicks, or installs. However, it's not. Marketing automation tools come with a price tag, and so are internal resources, such as copy, design, QA, localization, analysis, and so on. In addition, in some cases, when you don't optimize your targeting or frequency of campaign, you may encounter negative impact on your user base, such as users disabling push notifications or uninstalling your app or unsubscribing from your mailing list. So, sorry. Now that we've established the why, let's move on to the what. And I'll split it to 2. Top of the funnel versus impact. Top of the funnel refers to the number of messages sent, delivered, and tapped. The ratio between the number of messages sent and delivered is an indicator of the percentage of users who disabled push notifications, unsubscribed from your mailing list, or uninstalled your app. The second top of the funnel KPI that marketers tend to rely on is the ratio between the number of messages delivered and number of messages tapped or opened, which is also referred to as tap rate, open rate, CTR, click-through rate. And while you shouldn't ignore this metric, it's important to keep in mind it's not a standalone KPI, as it's highly impacted by how clear or vague your copy is. For example, when promoting a paid feature, including the price within the message, such as in example A to the left, you are likely to generate a lower CTR than if you don't tell users about the price until they tap the call to action button, such as in the example to the right. However, more clicks don't necessarily mean more purchases. Then target audience also plays a role. For example, promoting paid feature to past purchasers is also likely to generate a higher CTR than if you promote it to non-purchasers. And last, the prompted action is important too. Asking users to download a free sticker pack is likely to generate a higher CTR than asking them to download a paid one. But you can still use CTR to benchmark your activities over time and optimize the quality and relevancy of your offerings and copy. When doing so, it's very important to compare apples to apples, meaning it makes sense to compare the CTR of Christmas campaign 2018 to Christmas campaign 2019, in case you promoted free actions in both cases. However, it probably doesn't make sense to compare it to the CTR of a campaign that prompts users to update their version, for example. To compare apples to apples, my recommendation is to create a table with 5 criteria: targeted country, targeted segment of users, type of campaign, channel, prompted action. To the right, you see a snippet of a huge Excel table, which consists of thousands of rows with all the retention marketing campaigns that my team has launched. And when we want to compare activity to activity or country to country, we just filter according to the relevant criteria or create a simple pivot table. Now, top of the funnel is nice, and clicks are nice. However, I'm sure you never went to your CEO and said, "You won't believe how many clicks we generated on end of year activity." I mean, with clicks, you don't go to the grocery store nor to stakeholders. You want to make an impact. So let's measure that by using 5 KPIs. First is contribution to companies or teams' KPIs. It could be DAO, MAU, the ratio between the two, revenue, week 1 retention, and so on. Second, the conversion rate to the prompted action. For example, to the left, you see a campaign that prompts users to initiate a group call. So I would measure what percentage of users initiated a group call. Retention cohort is also important, as usually you want your users to take the action more than just once. So I would check the percentage of users who repeated the action and the frequency they did so. Growth-oriented actions refer to actions such as inviting a friend to Viber or reactivating dormant users by inviting them to a group call. Segment movement refers to the percentage of users who moved from segment X, let's say messengers only, to segment Y, let's say messengers and callers. But wait, when do you actually measure these KPIs? So let's say a few words about attribution. Let's say you launch a campaign today, an email campaign. When do you measure the conversion to action? When do you measure impact? Today, in a week, in a month? Question to ask is how immediate you expect the action to take place. For example, to the left, you see a campaign that prompts users to send Women's Day wishes to their friends and family. To the right, you see a campaign that prompts users to perform in-app purchase. While in the first case, I expect users to take the action the same day they view the campaign, as it doesn't really make sense to send Women's Day wishes a few days later, I would allow a longer attribution window for the banner campaign, as users may not need to buy Viber out just now, but maybe they will need to in a few days. And rule of thumb is that purchase actions can be measured for a longer period of time. Second attribution topic is the base audience, or who can actually make an impact. So let's take example B. Would you attribute purchases to users who viewed and tapped the campaign, or also to users who just viewed it but never tapped the campaign? My view is that there's value in both, as long as you use a control group. A control group is also referred to as holdout group and is a section of the segment of the campaign audience who doesn't actually receive the message. Its primary goal is to measure incremental impact. So it basically looks at what would have happened if you weren't to launch the campaign organically versus what happened as a result of the campaign. Here you see an example of a campaign that prompts users to invite their friends to Viber. And I added some very imaginary numbers to the table. Let's say that in the test group, I had 1,000 users who viewed the campaign. And in the control group, I had 100 users with the same attributes as the test group. However, they never received the campaign. In the test group, 600 users, 60%, invited a friend to Viber on the day they viewed the campaign. In the control group, 50% did so without receiving the campaign. So the incremental impact would be the difference between the two groups, 10%, multiplied by the test group size, 1,000, which gives us 100 incremental inviters. In other words, if I weren't to launch the campaign, then out of the 1,000 users, 50%, 500, would have invited a friend. And as a result of the campaign, 600 invited a friend. Now, the longer attribution window you allow, so let's say you measure it over a week and not on day 0, the lower the incremental impact you'll see, as you basically give the control group the more chance to do the action organically. Generally speaking, long-lasting impact comes from evergreen rather than seasonal campaigns when targeting inactive users. Some best practices around control groups. So I recommend to create a global control group. This would be a group of users who never receive any retention marketing campaigns. And over time, it should allow you to evaluate the impact of your entire retention strategy. Then when keeping a local control group per campaign, see that these users don't receive any other campaigns. Otherwise, it may skew the results. Remember that the smaller the segment, the larger the control group you need to get statistically significant results. Then when you create a multi-channel, multi-steps campaign, it's important to allocate a control group per campaign step to evaluate its impact. Now, let's say that you have all the tools you need to measure all the campaigns. What can you actually do with it? So A, you can calculate ROI. You know how many resources you need to launch a retention marketing activity. You know what would be the impact based on past measurements. So you can make a data-driven decision and decide if you want to launch this new activity. Then, assuming you have an annual retention marketing plan for the year, you can project its impact on KPIs. You can also benchmark new campaigns to past campaigns as long as you document all your past campaigns. And last, you can apply the Pareto principle or the 20-80. If you know that 80% of your impact comes from 20% of your audience, just focus on the 20%. Now, I think our time is nearly up, and I want to wrap up this super short, in a nutshell, intro to retention marketing measurement. So A, it's not free. Top of the funnel is not a standalone KPI. There are 5 key metrics to measure incremental impact and impact generally. You should allow different attribution window per different offering and measure incremental impact by allocating 2 control groups, a global and a local one. Use the measurement to determine ROI, project KPIs, benchmark new campaigns, and apply the 20-80 rule. That's it from me. I'm not sure if we have time for questions. If so, I'm happy to answer these. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noe. Thanks for the talk and for the insights and for the comprehensive guide. We actually have one question in the lecture chat and a few likes and comments that you're a rock star and people enjoy your presentation. Thank you. So the question is from Moshe Bloom, who was our speaker yesterday. Hi, Moshe. Thank you for watching us. He says that's an amazing session, and he asks, how do you combine automation in CRM with incrementality measurements?
That's a good question. It's about integrating a good marketing stack. So you need to make sure that all the systems talk. So you need to make sure that your marketing automation tool is connected to your data warehouse and that all the campaigns are reported to an internal database. And based on this, make future data-driven decisions.
Thank you very much. Guys, if you have more questions to Noaya, please go write them on your LinkedIn, right? Or maybe on wnhub.io platform in the lectures chat, where you can also join us for the discussion with the viewers and make the discussion hotter and like warm it up a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And goodbye and take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.